Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Dewberry, and I, alongside a small group of co-creators, we have been developing a video game, actually known as Cactus Calvary. This is going to be a game made in Godot, and shout outs to my co-developers, Tyseer Sykes and Jacob McPhail, and let's just head right into it. This is going to be a very basic devlog because I don't have the video editing skills. Even if I did, I really wouldn't want to spend time on it. This is more just like a general overview of our project and why you should be excited to play it. So first things first, what is Cactus Calvary? If we want to summarize in one word, or one sentence at least, it'll be a tower defense with WarioWare with slash RPG elements with a story. So a really complex genre hybrid with a lot of VN elements. The expected release is going to be at the end of summer 2024. It's kind of a hard deadline for us. So why are we developing this game, and why do I have my team that I do? Well, we started developing this game during the 2024 HBCU Game Jam, and we really thought we hit something big with this. The characters were fantastic, the gameplay was kind of engaging, and as a result, we're trying to really get into it. Our hard deadline is still going to be summer, so one of the reasons why we're having a hard deadline is that we're all college students, and we're all working full-time. So as a result, something that's going to happen pretty soon is that we're going to need to drop all of our free time stuff, get right into studying, right into internships, even back into socializing once everyone's back on campus. But now, of course, it's going to be a lot of work for us to do. So let's talk about the story of this game for a bit. So we're going to be having a very heavy story emphasis. And what's the story then? So robots are going to be invading the desert from this huge land. They have a huge AI overlord. We don't know how deep we want to go with the sci-fi elements just yet. But you run into this issue where as they're trying to take over the world, a few cactus folk who have been chosen by a crystal are the first and last line of defense against them. And it's kind of strange why these cactus folk are being chosen in the first place, because a lot of them are pretty strange, have a lot of very unique personalities. But over time, they learn a lot about themselves as they go into an offensive deep into enemy territory. So there's going to be a lot of character arcs and character building here. You get to have relationships with the towers. So all the towers are going to be like a cactus. And they're going to have their own storyline. And you can talk to them in these VN sections. You can give them gifts and they end up powering up. Think about the Fire Emblem sections in between battle, if you want a good example of that. And we're using dial logic for the VN sections of the game. So that's kind of how the technical implementation is going on. I'd like to have some writing samples, but we're saving that for the next devlog. And we also have a tower defense gameplay, of course. So let me just show you level 1 TD. So this is what the tower defense is going to look like. And let me just make sure that everyone's able to see this. And okay, perfect. Sweet. So what's happening here? Oh, the game has audio. The game has audio. I did not mean to show that. Let me just fix that real fast. Open volume mixer. Oh my gosh, the tower defense already started. What the heck? Okay, there we go. Sweet. So you just place down towers like this, and they end up attacking enemies. I gave them a lot of help in this example. Don't pay attention to the left side just yet, but yeah, we have a bunch of enemies who are spawning. We have rotations on the right side with enemies. You see that he's turning, and the projectile doesn't follow him. So the projectiles are physics-based. This is kind of I don't say it's that hard of a thing to do, but it's very unique. They're getting. Let me just play some more. They're getting way over. There we go. Oh, that's strange. That should have been placeable. Okay, I need to fix that. This is why we playtest. We find bugs. But here we go. Each of these characters, they got lovable designs, and we got little portraits like this right over here. In the bottom right, and we get to learn more about them as the story and game goes on. She's a bit unscaled, that's why she's a bit large. That's our sniper cactus. So that's what we have so far for the tower defense. I'd like to go into more detail about it some other time. We can talk about what makes it tick, as well as why it's taking so much of our development time just to get working. But that's again for another devlog. So for the twist that we have in the RPG, I want to talk. Oh my god, that's so many. But basically, if you see in the top left, you can see how we have a RPG section. So, well, we had an RPG section. But basically, one of the really big things that we have a problem with the typical tower defense games is that the game design is quite roll tread. So what I mean by that is in the top right, this is this game called Desktop Tower Defense. This was made in around 2005, if I'm not mistaken, really early internet game. And this game has so many cool changes and techniques in terms of game design. So like, you could set, they actually use this at MIT as a course to teach game balance. They actually have one of your assignments be to play this game and write about what build you use to defeat the game, or like what build you use when you got like far into the game. And the reason why is because like you have a bunch of like boss enemies, you have a bunch of like flying enemies, as well as enemies that spawn other enemies. So as a result, you really need to have a lot of different towers, as well as a lot of strategies with how you fight off these waves. So like there's a lot of build diversity as well as upgrade diversity. So you need to really understand how you're going to build the map that you do. Same thing with Blue's tower defense. The upgrades in that game are very engaging as well. Even though like it doesn't have custom pathways like Desktop Tower Defense does, it's still like a very fascinating game to study. So one of the things that we wanted to add was a mini game that would be action-based or RPG-based that requires a lot of cognitive function, so you can have the desktop run in the background while you also juggle that at the same time. So one of the game examples that we used for developing this was The World Ends With You. And of course, if you play this game, you know it's really probably one of the most complex video games. I won't say of all time, but like definitely in the upper echelon, because you have to track everything that's happening on the top screen while also balancing everything on the top screen, on the bottom screen. I recommend playing the DS version. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. The DS version, not the remake. And I think it's a fantastic video game. But we also run into like a lot of issues with that. So how do we make that fun? So during our first prototypes, when working with WarioWare gameplay, we noticed that like WarioWare minigames are panicky and difficult by design. So what does that mean? So like you're supposed to like have your full attention on this game. You have like 2 seconds to do something. Oh my gosh, right? It's like a huge cognitive overload, right? Very stressful, very high key. How do you kind of balance that with a more strategic tower defense gameplay section? Even though it needs to be balanced and seems to be like, it's definitely one of the things that we're hitting up against a lot, it's still absolutely worth doing. So our current prototype focuses more on turn-based RPG gameplay on the left side of the screen, but you can basically take your own time with that. But it needs to be a little bit more engaging. So what I mean by that is that the choices they need to make for the RPG section should be a little bit more in-depth. Not quite Shin Megami Tensei levels of like, difficulty, or like Pokemon levels of like complexity. We have all these different stats effects and all that. But something that should just like take a lot of focus, but you can still like rush through like this, if you get the chance. Well, that's also why we're sticking to PC right now, because the interface seems a little bit intense. But anyway, devlog time to meet the characters. So we're gonna have one character a week, or whenever we update this devlog. Meet the Cactus Myrtle. So he is the main character, the one who is the first to jump in harm's way. So he's going to be a funny and engaging cactus. He's going to be kind of like the character that we experienced the game through. So he was the main character inside the RPG section, so he's kind of, ran off, then did his own stuff. And he's going to have his own character arc with depth, and our narrative team is very happy about how this guy's shaping up. His design, of course, the short hair, like a little bob with a hat. Very engaging. We like it a lot. We think it's a pretty good mascot too. When it comes to like creating arcs for visual novels, you want the character to like be recognizable towards like the start and the end. So like one of the things that like we tried to avoid was like making the game like too edgy, and like making the main character too annoying. So we wanted to like have someone like Naruto. So of course, if you remember Naruto, in this series, he starts off really annoying and just like super childish, but over time he matures. We want to have that same maturity level, but we don't want it to have the exact same annoying factor towards the start. So how do we kind of balance that and make this character like seem interesting? That's one of the huge considerations we have, and I think we pull it off quite well. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to us. Look out for next week. We will upload more. Thanks. This is my laptop mic.